What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's right, so this is obviously a major group that, for whatever reason, I just never had much exposure to over time. They are a name I knew, though going into the first reaction I did for them, shout out to Kim, it was a song included as part of a playlist she compiled called Songs for an Uneventful Weekend, which is now on my channel with its own playlist in full. But yes, I thought maybe they'd have like a funk rock type of sound, but it was more like soul funk. And from what I've since learned from people's comments, that seems to be the general area that a lot of their catalog is in, even if there's likely to be some variety. In any case, my understanding is that they're very prolific. As I said, I knew them through reputation just in terms of their impact and popularity alone, even if I never heard any of the actual music. So I very much enjoyed the tune I reacted to as part of the playlist Kim put together, and a number of folks commented, wow, like if you don't know them, they're one of the best bands ever, you really gotta check them out. And lo and behold, good friend of the channel Adam, who has provided a lot of music for a couple years now, and who recently had to reboot his server, and the material on the server now is not identical to what was there before, and I think he's still bringing things back onto the server. But lo and behold, I see an Earth, Wind, and Fire folder, so I click on that, and there is an album. Is it Up to the Sky? What is it exactly? Head to the Sky. So yes, I look on Discogs. This is apparently from 1973, and I figure we'll just go through it, and maybe there'll be more Earth, Wind, and Fire available. And I'm in the moment forgetting if Kim had shared some beyond just that tune. If not, or if so, apologies, and of course I'll go through everything that we have access to. But yes, I was looking on Adam's server for something different, and as I was scrolling through the E part of the alphabetized collection, I suddenly noticed this and said, you know what, let's listen to more by Earth, Wind, and Fire. So the first track on the Head to the Sky album is Evil. So it's a single word title, those are tough to get a read on, and it's the kind of word that could be more straight away or more ironic. But yes, ultimately evil, the opposite of that which is good, uplifting, and benevolent, something which is malicious, malevolent, or intended to cause chaos, harm, or even death. So something that is evil is maybe indicative of the way we humans like to think of things in extreme dichotomies, good and evil, cold and hot, and it's easier for us to categorize the world if we ignore moral ambiguity and nuance. Now, of course, in works of art, we do often talk of things which are very much one way or very much the other, because it can be instructive or insightful or enjoyable to think about things which are colored a certain way or the other in terms of their moral character. So yes, I don't quite know what to expect. Ultimately, again, a single word title, there's no additional context. I'll just try to catch what I can. This is Earth, Wind, and Fire. The song is Evil, and it's the opening tune on their 1973 album, Head to the Sky.
looking for a place to guide, little light in our souls and minds. Oh yeah, baby, we learn to pray. Life you love, sunshiny days. Sunshiny days, sunshiny days, sunshiny days. Think about it. And evil is running through our brain. Turn to love, it won't be the blame. Won't be the
That's a fun and very smooth tune sonically. I think it was literally talking about evil, though in a really interesting way. But first, the sonics. So, yeah, I love that smooth, fun feeling. It's got soul, it's got funk, maybe even a bit of blues flavor, though that I think relates more to my impression of the lyrics, which I didn't catch all of, though I caught enough to have some ideas about maybe what's happening here. But yes, I like the vocals. I do wonder. I just did a reaction to a Phil Collins tune featuring Phil Bailey. Was that the lead, the one that went especially high in a couple places? Was that Phil Bailey? So yes, that was part of also why I was suddenly keen to, you know what, let's do some more Earth, Wind and Fires, because I really enjoyed the high, like falsetto style vocals from that Phil Collins duet with Philip Bailey, and people mention, that's a guy from Earth, Wind and Fire. So either way, I enjoy the groovy bass. It had a funky sound to it, not like, super wickedly funky, but definitely keeping a nice groove with a bit of a funk attitude to it. I enjoyed, and like I was trying to figure out, I think it's like an organ kit. Although I wondered, is that a Celesta? Is that actually like a xylophone? I think it was a keyboard kit in an organ Celesta type of style, but I like the way it was flourishing and flowing. And in fact, the first like 45 seconds of the tune, it was like rain, sort of like both in terms of the hi-hats or the like percussive rolling, but also there was a melodic rolling, and it felt like, being drizzled upon at the beginning of a storm. But then it starts going, and it's got this lightness to it, this smoothness, and yeah, I enjoyed the vocals, especially like there were those rising melodic vocals where I feel like there were at least 2 or 3 singers, and that was a nice like transitional vocal. But there were also these non-lyrical mood vocals where, just someone saying or like seemingly expressing a feeling without using words, like singing a feeling, and there were a few of those along the way, and I really enjoyed them. So yeah, great vocals and dynamic sound with, again, a bit of a soul funk, smooth, uplifting feel. Lyrically, I'm intrigued, and again, it maybe relates to why I took it as having a bit of a blues flavor, because blues, they talk about things that are wrong or things that are unjust and things which the narrator is hoping can be changed, or at least calling them out and saying that they're unfair and wishing that things could be different. And I do feel like there's an appeal here to prayer, the idea that it's through prayer, reaching out to a god or a religious figure that can heal and fight back the darkness of evil with the light of belief and prayer. But it sounds like it's not fully metaphysical, which is to say, and not to delve into arcane moral philosophy, but if when evil is talked about as if it is the product of a metaphysical agent, then there's almost like a skirting of responsibility, because is it really your fault if there's a corruptive, evil, supernatural entity that is making people have evil thoughts and behaviors, or is it a way to talk about evil that is in some ways metaphorical, the idea that those evil thoughts and actions, the things causing strife and turning something that's bright into a bad, like into pain, as I think the song talks about, is it actually something we can change and we can adjust? And so again, whether or not you believe in a full metaphysical good versus evil universe, I like the way it seems like the lyrics are saying that these are things we can change, these are things within ourselves, and even if we're viewing them as part of some religious belief system, it's ultimately down to us to behave or to think in a good manner and not in an evil manner. So yeah, it's not fully putting things off to the metaphysical, but I think it's using that language to talk about all the strife and violence and pain that's in the world. It doesn't have to be so. We could find enrichment and salvation, whether again you're taking that on a more literal term or a more figurative way, but it is through changing our thoughts, changing our behaviors, that we can stamp out the evil, shine the light on human relations, and maybe make the world a better place. So that's what I took away from it. Maybe I'm missing some details, maybe I'm misinterpreting some of the lines, but yeah, a really smooth and enjoyable tune. I love all the melodic flourishing, especially as it got to the end. It was like really flowing with the melodic runs, especially with that organ type keyboard. So yeah, top tune, looking forward to more. Shout out once again to Adam, shout out to Kim, shout out to anyone else who's interested in Earth, Wind, and Fire, and hopefully again this is just one chapter of what will become a larger deep dive and story here on the channel. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.